Today, we're going to talk about last night's 94th Academy Awards. As has been broadly reported, Will Smith, offended by comments made about his wife by Chris Rock, went up on stage and slapped Chris Rock in front of over 13 million people. He then went back to his seat and loudly used profanity and told Chris Rock not to mention his wife out of his mouth. So at some level, you could say, well, it's not really a big deal. It's just a slap. And in fact, Will Smith was not apologetic, at least towards Chris Rock, and seemed to indicate that, like his character, King Richard, he was defending his family by resorting to violence. And at a certain level, we see things on TV, Jerry Springer, The Real World, and we see the violence, and we say, well, okay, that's on TV, and therefore the regular rules and what would normally happen in the real world doesn't apply. But the fact of the matter is, Will Smith is one of the most beloved characters, or at least he was until last night. And last night really should have been a moment of glory, the biggest day in his life, winning the Best Actor Academy Award. But instead, it's really generated a lot of controversy, and a number of people are defending his actions. But there's a real problem with that. And the problem is that if the way people believe that you react when someone says something offensive about your wife is to physically strike them, and this is an individual that has a very high Q rating, which measures whether you're known and whether you have a positive view by the public. When someone in a leadership position is resorting to violence in an arena like that, that publicly, and nothing happens. The LAPD said that they were aware of the incident, but no police report had been filed. And now the question is, what's going to happen when someone is doing a stand-up routine and someone is offended out in the audience? And if you don't think that that can happen, you might want to Google a YouTube video of an individual by the name of Steve Brown, who was performing at a comedy club in Columbia, South Carolina in 2018. And he was attacked by an individual who wounded 4 people and was throwing stools and swinging a mic stand. So it does happen. And in fact, Bobcat Goldthwait, as part of a bit, poured lighter fluid on his chair during Jay Leno's Tonight Show, and ultimately wound up pleading guilty to recklessly causing a fire. And at a certain level, you can say it's a big joke, unless, of course, you are familiar with the station nightclub fire. And sometimes that's all it takes to get something going. And so now the question is, assuming that there are no criminal charges filed, and assuming he gets away with it, and this was not self-defense, this is done in front of over 13 million people, what are the implications? Well, what if he had struck his wife in front of 13 million people and it was domestic violence? And we would then say, well, okay, that's not acceptable, and that violates the community standards that the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Science has. But attacking comedians is okay. It's not okay. It's a violation of Penal Code 240. And the message that gets delivered when the violence is, quote, protecting the family, is that when someone criticizes your sons or daughters or wife's driving, hey, watch where you're driving. To protect your family, it's okay to go and get involved in violence. It's not okay. And this is really going to be a checkpoint of what the academy does, what LAPD does, and what we really tolerate as a society.